Remember a while ago, I did a thing on Paris Hilton, who's got a new Netflix documentary coming out, was going to reveal something big, something traumatizing. You know, she was crying, so it was serious, it's something horrible. Well, of course, the secret of what she went through that nobody had known, that was just so terrible for this straw-headed idiot, finally was revealed. And they leaked a clip of it, and so now we know what it is. Here's the big reveal. She went through some tragic abuse, horrible abuse. Now, was it some kind of sexual abuse? No. Was it some kind of physical abuse? Maybe, kind of, sort of, but not really. Was it? Did her parents, beat her with, stacks and stacks of $100 bills until her ass was red? No. Did they, deprive her of a cell phone for a week and she almost went into a coma? Her eyes rolled in the back of her head and she just started to twitch? No. Did someone tell her she couldn't stay at the chateau in France for 2 weeks because she had looked side-eyed at a cook? One of the cooks she has in their compound or something. No. Here's what happened to Paris Hilton. And this tickles the shit out of me. First of all, I saw the thing on Entertainment Tonight. Look it up. In Paris Hilton's confession or whatever, Entertainment Tonight. She tells her mother and her father, and her sister is sitting there with her. And by the way, her sister looks just like her, but like a slightly more smart version of her with a bigger nose. Like, if that makes any sense. Like, Paris Hilton is not a hot girl. I don't know where she got this hot. It's hot. Everything's hot from. Because she's not attractive at all. She just looks like a really cheap, like, tranny. That's what she looks like to me. Not even like a transsexual. Not even somebody who's transgendered. She just looks like a really skinny white boy who decided to go in drag for like the fraternity party and Halloween and get boozed up because, it's flat. It's got long, straw-like hair and it's not interesting in the least. But whatever. She somehow managed to, make a fame and fortune off of demeaning, middle class and lower middle class jobs by, fucking them up with her friend Nicole Richie, who, used to love Xanax and all that shit, but now she's all better because she's, 2 pounds. And they made money off that. But she likes to say she's a businesswoman. I work very hard. I DJ in Liberia or Siberia, wherever they tell me. She doesn't DJ. They put her in front of a record player and they have her just do like this, Paris. It's sweet. Meanwhile, there's a real DJ under like a midget, like under like really DJing, knows what he's doing. Yeah, scratch those records. Yeah, you're really doing a great job. We have to get her something to do. Her parents want her far away from the compound as possible. Yes, she has her own house, but she doesn't know how to get in it yet. She's that dumb. So she's sitting there and she's like, I didn't even tell you at the time, telling her mom and dad and crying is, when I was 17 years old, I went to this boarding school. I know, don't you already feel, aren't the tears just welling up for you? She went to a boarding school, fancy boarding school at 17. And it was like for troubled teens. We'll get there. It was for troubled teens. And like when I was there, the staff was abusive. They would yell at me and they would like make fun of me and tell me I was a dummy and call me horrible swear word names. And sometimes, like I remember one time this girl who was also like a billionaire like me, she tried to run away and I think they smacked her or something. And I just didn't want you guys to know that I was going through all this because I think they were trying to break me down. And I'm guessing the sister was there or had a phone call with her once because the sister was like, yeah, I remember one time like just hearing lots of screaming on the other end of the line. And I was like, oh my God, that's like real and scary. That's it. That's what happened to her. Somebody yelled at this bitch when she was 17 years old, scared the fuck out of her, probably because she was acting like an asshole. Let's review what we know now by what she said. 17. She wasn't 12. She wasn't 13. She wasn't like a moray teenager. She was 17. She was 1 year away from being an adult, being able to vote and do everything, she wanted to except drink in this stupid country. Fine. 17. She was bad enough at 17 that her parents had to send her to a boarding school that not only was a boarding school for like shishi rich kids, but that worked on behavioral problems at 17. So that meant she's been a problem since she was a fetus. And it was just, with all the money they had, all this access to psychiatrists and medicine and shock treatment they could have given her, this chick was such a nightmare that even at 17, they're like, we got to do something about her. I know we have a huge compound and there's like 80,000 rooms in where she grew up probably, right? They never had to see her. They probably never passed her in the hallway, but she was that much of a fucking nightmare. She was sneaking guys in and like doing everybody and probably stuff like that. She was like doing lines of coke off like, the Mexican maids. She's like, shut the fuck up, Esmeralda, what your name is. I just think this is fun. I wanted to demean you. Oh God, where's Nicole? I gotta go party. It's hot. So they send her to a place for, hard knocks or something like that. And the staff yells at her and is very mean to her. And maybe they smacked her one or something like that. Good for the staff. Because you've seen Paris Hilton's attitude. I don't know her. I don't know personally, but I've known what she's shown on like TV shows and stuff like that. Remember when she's staying with the Hillbilly family back in the day and doing all these jobs? Whenever they had something for her to do, whenever they didn't like something she do or gave her some set of rules, it's stupid. Why do I have to do that? It's like so ridiculous. I'm not doing it. I'm just not going to do it. No, I'm not going to do it. That's the shit she pulled there. She went to this boarding school, this, really rough boarding school. First off, she makes it sound like there were people walking around with one eyes and, gang tattoos, and she was avoid being shanked every 5 seconds. No, it was a bunch of snotty little rich kids like you, and the staff was probably sick of their snotty little rich asses, and they're probably thinking they could get up, listen, peasant, get away from me, and don't touch me. My parents could buy and sell you. They probably heard that 1,000 times, and yeah, they probably called you a stupid ass or a spoiled little hooker, and then you said something really smart ass to them, like, I'm going to sue you or something, and one of them probably bitch slapped you. Good. That is the best institution ever. I want to know the name of the institution so I can give it a shout out. For her to act like she's some big victim of some kind of abuse and sit there and cry, she's crying because someone yelled at her. And they were trying to break me. And I just didn't want you to know. And her parents are sitting there. Oh my God, we had no idea. How did you not know? You sent her to a place that was going to be hard on her. Okay, what did you think? They were going to be like, hey, we're going to be really super rough on you, gosh golly darn it. Don't you dare fiddlesticks. Miss Paris Hilton, you get back in that room right now. We're just going to give you a finger wag and you're not going to forget, Missy. Did you just give me the dirty middle finger? Well, Heidi-ho and chipotle sauce. I just don't know what we're going to do with this one. You're not getting a rainbow sticker tonight. Fine. Somebody's not going to get thirds on desserts. You're going to get punished big time. Let me tell you something, Miss Hilton. Let me tell you something about, real behavior problems. When I was 12 years old, I was sent to a psych ward. Not because I was completely crazy, but because I was such a behavioral problem, causing incidents at my school that my school begged and pleaded my parents, do something! What? Do something! So at first they sent me to a child psychologist, and now, you might not know this by looking at me, but I had a sassy attitude even when I was younger. And I, even at 12, told this psychologist, I might have told her to go have sex with herself in various ways, and that I wasn't interested in anything she had to say, and that I literally at 12 told her that she bored the ever-loving piss out of me. She did. She was a boring woman. That's why she was single. That's why she had no husband. It was just a picture of her and her goddamn dogs on her fucking little office. She had no friends. That's what the friends were her kids. Okay? And I want to be your fucking friend. So at the time, she thought, there's a story time in there. Trust me, I could blow your minds with this one. But she thought at the time that I needed to be in a place where they could find exactly what my problem was. Do you know what my problem was? Do you know what my diagnosis was? And you're going to laugh your dick off. I was diagnosed, Miley, with oppositional defiance disorder. Do you know what that means? He doesn't like being told what to do. No, my God. What are we going to... Even my parents are just like... My poor fucking parents. I mean, they've been through hell with me. I mean, I didn't know I did half the things I did. I mean, I would set cardboard boxes on fire in the alley. And then one time, like, a neighbor pissed me off. So my brother was baking a cake. You could tell he was gay then. He was baking like a Betty Crocker cake. He was like 12. I mean, what are you doing? And for some reason, I thought the way to get even was to take the cake, not eat it with its entirety. He'd already put frosting on it. I just took it from him and I went outside and I dumped it like right on the neighbor's windshield. And then I just kind of mashed it in with the windshield wipers just to let them know that I knew that they had tattled on me about something, and then walk away and act like I didn't do it. I was so good at that. We know you did it. We had another neighbor who saw you did it. No, it wasn't me. You know you're lying. He's lying. They would tell my parents, he's lying. We saw him do it. I wasn't even home that day. I have no idea what they're talking about. Even my mom and dad got to my dad just fucking couldn't stand it anymore. My dad didn't like the fact that I was in the psych ward because he believed in old school stuff, but he was grateful.
Oh, no, he's going to come home. I don't think he's ready to come home yet. No. Because I think he's still got something wrong with his cabeza. So maybe, you keep him 4 or 5 more months. He's got the good insurance, It's all for him, all for him. Keep the son of a bitch there. He's crazy. I don't want him home.
So I went there, and let me tell you what I saw there. There were people that yelled. There were people that hit. There were people that beat up other people. Okay? I was 12 when I went through that shit, and I wasn't sitting there crying about it years later. Oh my God, it's such a horrible experience. It was actually a good experience. Okay, I didn't learn that much because I ended up going back 2 years later. They tricked me that time. They tricked me. Long story again, but I ended up going back 2 years later for a 4-month stint then. My behavior, surprise, surprise, hadn't got much better. You know, I learned to fake it for 2 years. That's actually how I got out the first time. I couldn't figure out why all these kids were getting out faster than I was. Turned out they had shitty insurance. They had like Medicaid and shit. Because there were these kids. There was these 2 black chicks, and I love these chicks, who were my roommates. I mean, they were on the room on the other side, but they were sitting there, I ain't gonna do shit. No, I ain't doing that. Fuck you too, bitch. Okay, I'm not doing it. Whatever you say. And I would sit there. I was friends with them. I'm like, oh my God, you guys are never gonna get out of here. She's like, I got Medicaid. I'm going home next week. What? I got Medicaid. I'm going home. They already told me I'm getting on Friday. They can kiss my ass. I don't give a shit what they gonna do to me. What they gonna do to me? I'm going home. Shit. I ain't taking a time out. She can kiss my ass with her time out. That's right. You bitch, we got problems. Me and you, ho. Wait till I catch you outside, okay? Eventually, when I come out, I'm gonna find out where you. Oh, I'm gonna scratch her car up. I was so jealous of these kids that I didn't know what kind of insurance I had. I was adopted, so guess what? When you're adopted, you get an adoption subsidy, which means you have great insurance when you're younger, which means I could stay longer than them. I ended up staying 3 months the first time. I thought I'd go home. No, I had to eventually fake it, and I learned, because one of the nurses clued me in. I'm like, why am I not going home? What am I doing wrong here? And she's like, you're putting up a facade. How so? You know, by being mean all the time and calling people names, and you're not really looking within yourself. And I would see these other kids have these breakdowns and cry, and you know, the nurses would console them, and then the psychiatrist would come and they'd have this long talk, and I'm like, I need to fake like I'm having some kind of moment. So I did. That's exactly what I did. I went up to one of my nurses one day. I planned the whole thing. I'm not shitting you. I acted sad. I wasn't sad about shit. I acted completely sad. I wasn't talking to anybody that day. She finally came over to me, whether there's, Jason, what's wrong? What's wrong? Nothing. I don't know how I managed to make myself cry, but I did. I made myself, it was fine. I just think if I act this way, then like people like me, and then you know people will love me even more. I mean, my friends in school, that's why I misbehave, because I'll say dirty things, and they went. But it's like I want to be liked, and I'm really, deep down, because I'm adopted, I think that people don't really love me, so I have to test their love. And it's like, oh, what's wrong with me? Oh my God. And this chick basically almost breastfed me. So, oh, come here. Oh, you had it. That's good. It's good you're crying. It's good. Sure enough, my psychiatrist came the next day, you know, for their rounds and everything like that. She's like, heard something happened yesterday. Yeah, nothing. I was kind of embarrassed. You know, I got out a week later. But obviously I tricked them because 2 years later, 2 years later I went back in. So I didn't learn shit. But listen, there was some rough shit that went on there, definitely. And I ended up going to a bunch of behavior disorder schools because you're kind of marked once you go to one of those places. I got kicked out of 3 different high schools, okay? I saw some shit. I saw a kid get challenged to fight by the bus driver. The bus pulled over. The bus driver beat the fuck out of this kid. There was no telling parents. There was nothing that was going to go on. I saw another kid who hated 2 other kids that were brothers. The brothers beat the fuck out of him on the bus. They pushed the kid out, the bus driver, when we all stopped at the stop where he lived. They pushed the kid out with a bloody nose and shit. The father sees the kid with a bloody nose, starts coming in. The bus driver doesn't go, oh my God, I'm sorry, what happened? The bus driver tries to fight the father. I could tell you, again, these are just a taste of some of the stuff that happened. I didn't sit there and cry about it because I knew I kind of deserved where I was at, okay? So Parishilton should shut the fuck up and stick to making fake lasagna and everything else she does. I mean, that's it, all right? And I'll tell you one thing. It did, and I hate to admit it, it did good for me. There's one reason, and one reason alone, I've never been to prison or been to jail. Because I knew what it was like to have my freedom taken away from me when I was 12 and 14. I knew it was like when to go to bed. I was going to be told when I got up. I couldn't go outside. I couldn't do anything I wanted to do. My phone calls were screened. I learned at a very young age, this sucks. I don't know if I would have learned that if I didn't have that experience. So, you know what, honey, your parents did it for a reason. Nobody feels sorry for you. I hope they beat her with other students there. How's that? I hope they picked up other like little rich brats and started whacking her with like some anorexic teen girl or something like that. Speaking of which, head on over to JBTV Cut in a few hours from now or later on for another video. I'm putting some more videos on there, the ones that I think are going to be a little bit more controversial just by the topic alone. And this one is going to be good. So might want to head over there in a little while. Yeah, so that's it. Don't care.